Mia Tijuana says, we live in an area with many practicing Catholics and many friends that we love, but it seems that the majority of good Catholic men and women around us seem to embrace modern gender roles. For example, married couples wait to have kids for years until the woman's career is fully established. Having lots of kids is considered irresponsible. Men are demonized for being gentle-hearted towards women because of feminist ideals. Unmarried men and women are allowed to be able to be deeply intimate friends without romantic ties. How would you recommend my soon-to-be husband and myself to lead a joyful example of traditional gender roles when the notion of it causes Catholics around us to recoil?
Oh, man. Okay, that's a can of worms.
Yeah, well,
okay.
There you go.
And, okay, so I'm going to say something. So this book right here, Meaning and Mystery Man, I lay this out, but...
That's your answer, Mia. Get that?
Yeah. So God created, I don't know if we talked about this in this one or in the earlier one, but when God created Adam, he gave him the commands to till and keep the garden of Ad and Shamar. And garden is a symbol of woman as well. It's a literal place, but a symbol of woman. But where was Eve when he gave all those commands? She didn't exist. God endowed Adam with this primary role of priest, protector, and provider, to transmit the commands, to protect her, to provide for her. Mia and her husband-to-be, they need to work on what does that mean? To have a man is a spiritual leader in the family, or should be. Now, this is interesting. In Ephesians 5, this is where we if we get to the Greek, we understand. Jesus says Paul says, deliver yourself up as Christ delivered himself up for the church. That Greek word for deliver is paradokein. Paradokein is the word that Jesus was used in Matthew when he said he gave his authority or disciples authorities to cast out demons. Paradokein he gave. So the idea is a man has been given the authority, but he shares that with his wife, paradokein. He gives her the authority. And in the creation account, Eve was the ezer kenegdo. The helpmeet is ezer kenegdo, which means as a right hand is to the left. It is a counterpart, an essential counterpart. So the two are equal in dignity. They have difference in roles, though. But the man's role is to always, in a sense, initiate, and in self-donation, in a sense, service, because that's, in a sense, by doing that, then she wants to reciprocate that, respond, and then you have the dance of love, as in the Trinitarian dance, and then the children eventually will see this and they want to get in on that. But I think that so imagine this, let's see if this works, but I think we have to recognize that in the creation account, man was created first and he was given that role of spiritual leadership. If we deny that, then we live in kind of like this vacuum or a void where the woman has to kind of try to do that. And then the man doesn't know what to do. Someone has to lead. If there's no leader, then there's no followers. The children will not follow. He has to set the pace of self-giving love. So my recommendation is the two of you pray about that and then find out what that means for you. What does that look like? Will he be leading prayer at dinner? Will he be leading prayer with the family? I don't know. But each family has to determine how he is going to lead,
Mm-hmm. Okay. Also, I think it's nice to give both of you the freedom to do it clunkily.
Mm-hmm.
If a man were to say, I don't know how to protect my family, I guess it doesn't come naturally. You'd say, all right, well, do it anyway. And if a woman's like, I'm just not naturally nurturing, okay, just figure it out. Well, or I don't know how to cook. Okay, read a cookbook, figure it out. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Just do it.
That's right. And when you're doing that, I think, so I'm convinced of this. For a marriage to work, so marriage is based on these kind of three components. One is understanding that God endows men and women with God-given needs. The second is identify your needs, and she identifies her needs, then you communicate those needs. Then once those needs are communicated, then the two creatively on their own, not under coercion, manipulation, determine how to address those needs. They can never meet those needs because only God can satisfy. So basically, I might have the need for physical intimacy. My wife, maybe she doesn't have that need as much. Maybe it's more for closeness, maybe more of an emotional kind, right? Well, that's a God-given need that he's given me as a man. She has a God-given need for closeness. They complement one another. But we talk about that. We say, okay, this is who I am. This is who you are, without accusatory blame, or saying you don't do this for me. No, these are my needs. Communicate that, and then you leave it to the other to figure out how to address those needs. That's when you have a marriage that totally works, because you look at Mary and Jesus, the bridegroom and the bride at the foot of the cross and at the wedding at Cana of Galilee. I love this because Mary expresses her need to Jesus. She says, they have no wine. She trusts that he's going to do something, that he's going to meet the need. And he does. And at the foot of the cross, Mary's there, and Jesus says, I thirst. And he's hoping that she and all that follow as the bride of Christ will fulfill that desire for love, that people will be saved. It's the expression of our needs, then leaving the couples to determine how to address those needs. That's where it gets clunky. But that's where the secret of a great marriage is, because when I see my wife, maybe she doesn't want physical intimacy as much as I do, and yet she tries and she does beautiful things to try to please me. Like, man, she loves me incredibly.
Yeah, it is really helpful to ask your wife or to ask your husband, what are some ways you feel loved? When I do it, you feel loved. What's great about that is, like, once you know that, awesome. Yeah, you can stop wasting time doing things that she didn't even care about.
Right. Communication leads to communion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like, and subscribe.